I mean, you made it awkward by not telling which one of us to go first, but
I want you to someone take the initiative.
Yeah, I'll take the initiative.
You go first, mate. I default you.
Rachin, I guess just first of all, mate, like what's the mindset like on a day like yesterday, where even from waking up, going to the ground, of I guess knowing what was the task at hand.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess it's a position I haven't really been in too often in my young career. I guess you always have a bit of excitement about how the day might turn out, and obviously the nerves are always going to be there when you're not out overnight. But ultimately, it was disappointing. I think when you set yourself up for a potential a game, on day 5 to win 4th innings in Asia, you always see yourself in those circumstances. But yeah, obviously it is what it is. It's cricket, and unfortunately we couldn't get over the line.
Did you have a game plan in mind? Were you confident that if you could, I guess, see out the first half an hour that it could be done?
Yeah, well, I guess it was always going to be a little bit difficult. I think my original sort of plan was going to be like, all right, let's farm strike as much as I can and look to take strong opportunities, because realistically, there's still 68 runs, so it's pretty hard to have a nice singles for a long period of time, because you still need to keep the scoreboard ticking over. I guess if we needed 30 or 20 runs, then it would be slightly different. But I guess my mindset was to be positive. The balls weren't necessarily in my area to score, and unfortunately, I got one that sort of skidded past the bat that I wasn't quite expecting. But yeah, that's okay. I guess the great thing about it was the clarity was there. I was able to lean on guys on the team to talk to about those situations who've been in there before, like Kane, and working with batting coach Ronks and Gary and Timmy, and all the messages are really good. So going out there, I was clear on what I wanted to do, and just unfortunately it didn't work out.
Assume you guys would have had a chance to debrief as a team. What were some of the things you're most happy about that? And equally, I guess, was there a session or a couple of moments there where you feel like that was the difference in the game getting away from you guys?
Yeah, I think I guess looking at the positive overall, I think we played a good test match. I think there were times where the game was sort of drifting away from us a little bit, and we brought it back with the ball and batting. We were really happy with the way guys took on options and was positive, and didn't necessarily let them bowl to us. And we know how consistent these spinners are in this part of the world. So it was nice to see every batter have a plan and go about things differently and trust that plan, and made us, get decent enough scores. Obviously, we would like more, but just in terms of those big inning scores, and I think we look at it as a batting unit. A lot of us made starts, and I guess if 1 or 2 people can go on, have a big partnership, 100 plus, that sort of makes a big difference. I guess there were times that we recognised potentially when we could have had a bigger lead in the first innings, set up reasonably well. A lot of guys had starts. I was guilty of it too, leaving ball on my stumps, but again, that happens. But and there's times I think with the ball we did extremely well. They were cruising along. We had Willa Rourke bowl incredibly well. Jazzy was as consistent as always. So there's definitely plenty of positives to take from this test match, and hopefully we can take it into the next one.
Was that always going to be tough from that position, not having, I guess, as big a lead as you would have wanted after the first innings, particularly when you're always going to be the team that has to bat last?
Yeah, for sure. I think whenever in the subcontinent, if you lose the toss, it's always going to be a little bit of a challenge. But I think we were, we put ourselves in a great position, really. And I think even with the 35-run lead or whatever, we still pulled it back really well. And on a wicket that seemed like it was pretty docile for their third innings as well, boys bowled extremely well, and we were able to prize out some scalps. So yeah, I guess that's test cricket in Asia. There's ebbs and flows of it, and I guess we've got to see the opportunities when we get. But I think largely it was a very positive sort of test match for us.
And just lastly from me for now, is it an advantage, because it's pretty rare occurrence that you get the same venue for 2 tests in a row? I guess, will that help you guys not going somewhere else where the conditions might be slightly different? I guess, are you expecting a pretty similar deck there in Galle?
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty similar. I think it's a huge advantage. You don't have the travel day. You've got a couple of days to, be in the spot and relax. We're acclimatized to the conditions, the weather, the hotel, just those little things, which stack up. Training facilities, you know what to expect in terms of the game wicket. I think that helps massively. I'm not sure what exactly it will be like, but it looks pretty similar. So it means hopefully we'll be able to similar game plans. They can translate to the next game too. But recognising those moments are probably the key ones for me leading to the next one.
I'll jump in. G'day, mates. Just looking back at the way you batted in the second innings, I know you've had a few good knocks over the last year or so, but do you consider that the best innings you played for New Zealand?
Yeah, I guess it's definitely up there. I think you're always you always dream of yourself in challenging situations, and I guess an opportunity to chase in the fourth innings in Asia is, certainly an amazing special opportunity. I think it'd probably rank up there if we won the game, to be honest, but it's nice to be able to go through a process in my plan and know that it's there and challenge myself against pretty top quality test bowlers, and I think that's what's important for me. And I guess it's hard to rank knocks, I guess, because in the moment you're doing what you can for the team, you're doing what you can for the boys, and for me that's important in that now. And I don't necessarily look too much about the past, but it's definitely up there.
Obviously, coming to this part of the world, spin is going to play a pretty big part, especially against the Black Caps. Do you feel like as a batting unit there's an issue against spin, or is it just you're going to face a lot more, so it's natural that more wickets will fall to the slow bowlers?
Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily an issue. I think traditionally maybe we, in the past, especially teams coming, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, haven't played spin so well in these conditions. It's because it's completely different to what we're used to, right? So, and also you're right, spinners bowl majority of the overs, so more likely than not you're going to get out to a spinner. But I think it's the method that we go about things which has been very positive throughout the two innings that we've had. I think previously we potentially might have been a little bit defensive or maybe gotten ourselves into a bit of a hole, but I think there's a lot of experience in this group, and guys are leaning on each other to develop our game plans and take the game to them a little bit more than maybe what it was in the past. So, having guys in the change room like Kane, who's been there a million times. You got Tommy Latham, who's a very good player to spin too. So, just picking everyone's brains and sort of figuring out a way that you can do things, I think that helps a lot. But yeah, I think we're always trying to develop our game against spin. I think it's natural. You've got four more test matches in Asia, so hopefully with every one we can get better and learn from each experience.
You talk about the experience in the dressing room. Someone who is there is Rangana Herath, obviously to help the bowlers out. But is he having a word with the batters about, this is what you need to do in these conditions?
I think it's more of not necessarily sort of telling us what we need to do, but it's sort of getting feedback about what their bowlers are trying to do and almost translate that for our bowlers to and be like, okay, what's the best on this surface? I've talked to him a little bit about trainings, about what it takes in terms of what annoys a spinner the most, how you can put him off his length. Not necessarily trying to go down the ground and bomb him every ball, but it's like, okay, using the depth of the crease and trying to be meticulous with each movement and that sort of stuff. Just trying to, ruin their consistency a fraction. And it's great to have a guy like that in the change room who's 400 plus test wickets, 100 plus wickets in goal. We have 2 test matches here. So anything that he's been giving us has been gold dust.
With such a short break between the 2 tests, is there a lot you do in between to try and fix any issues, or is it just sort of backing the plans that you had going into the first one?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's never really a quick fix. I also don't think there's too many issues. I think there's yes, we lost the game and it's definitely disappointing, but I think there's a lot of positives to take from that. I think the way we approached the game was great. Our mindsets and our towards playing spin was great. I think that, like I mentioned before, there's just a few moments that we could have seized, and that's Test cricket, and hopefully we'll be able to do that next time. I don't think there's never really a quick fix. I think everyone's plans are there. I think the biggest thing is for us to trust what we do and trust ourselves as a team and commit to our individual plans, because it's more than enough. And then hopefully, it accumulates in 5 days of good cricket.
Just lastly from me, so 5 years ago when the Black Caps were last in Sri Lanka, it was a very similar situation to what there is now, where they lose the first test, but then come back and win it. Has that been spoken about at all?
Yeah, I think that has been spoken about previously, early on the tour and how that went. And I think that shows the never say die attitude of the Black Caps and the drive that we have for each other to, play for each other and have the care for each other to try, keep pushing on. And look, we're all disappointed, and that's natural. But I think we're all competitive people, so we're always gonna, look at what we did and learn from that, and hopefully put together a more complete performance next time.
Cheers, mate. All the best for Test 2.
Brilliant. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, guys.
I just have one last one, mate. Obviously, World Test Championship, the bigger picture there. With the situation of it now, is it something you guys think about, and does it help get you up for games and that not do or die yet, but getting close to it?
Yeah, I think the beauty of World Test Champo that there's context for every single Test match. Even if it's a draw, you get points. Win, you get points. So that's definitely important. It's always going to be there. You're always going to want to make that final. You're always going to want to win tournaments. But I think for us as a group, what's made us successful over a period of time is being, driven in that moment, being like, hey, what's important right now? What can I do for the team right now? And more often than not, that brings you back to the now, and everything else will sort of take care of in the future if we can commit to, staying present and working hard and giving it our all in this moment, because who knows what's going to happen in 6 months' time and what other teams are going to do. So I guess it's for us doing what we do best, and hopefully that accumulates in a few wins.
Awesome.
Sorry, did you just call that the Champo?
Yeah,
Champo.
it's not bad, eh?
Is that an MLC thing? That all the Aussies play it?
No, I picked that from you Aussies. Eh?
Great work, guys.
Awesome.